the Europa in the League Cups, in the European Cups, really good, right? The teams show up. They went and got him, and then they didn't back him, so they didn't really want him. So this is where a lot of our pain is with the ownership, not with Arteta. He just happens to be the point man sitting in front of all of this. He's essentially taking all the bullets for all of the bad decisions, from those above him. And so, can we get rid of the ownership? I don't think so.
No,
but that's what needs to happen, because that's who's actually creating this problem. Because, like you said, is he worth that money? No. Like, was Kai Havertz worth that money? No. Was Aubameyang worth that money if you're not going to back him? No. I mean, right? They gave Aubameyang a contract and then basically said, all those things that you did for us, they don't work for us anymore. And that's what I saw.
Yeah.
And then you created a conflict with your top player. Next thing you know, a couple years later, he's gone. And I think for me, that's kind of bad management from the top down. Like, if you don't put that money in a player and then go, you know what, we're not gonna create an environment where you're gonna strive, right? And that's what I think they did. That's what they did. That's how I saw that piece. So that's for me. It's a lot of the. It's more of the ownership issues doing this right now than it is Arteta, but he's going to take all the bullets, because that's what he does, and that's what managers do for Arsenal. They all seem to do that in one way or another. Wenger took it when he had to overachieve, and that's the problem right now with Arteta. He doesn't overachieve with what he's got, right? Like, he needs to overachieve, and every manager that's done anything overachieves. And I don't like, if you have top players, cool, but then what about those other players at the end of the bench? Those other players that aren't the top players in the world. You got to overachieve with them, and we're not doing that, right? Because those are the difference between actually the big wins that we need and what's going on, right? We should be able to lean on players, and we don't, because just the way it is a lot of things, but I feel like they set him up. All right, the ownership with that contract set him up. Now we're expecting him to be what they think he is, and he's not. Yeah.
But welcome to Waffle TV. Waffle TV.
Yeah.
Big up, bro.
What's good, man?
How you doing? Big up, man. Glad to have you on, man. Big up to you, bro. Bro, do you feel like City and Liverpool are pulling away from us in the transfer window? Like, the gap that was already there, do you feel like it's... I feel that way.
Well, City are an anomaly in what they do anyway. So I don't want to be compared to a City, because City are levels above us right now. They've been a level above us for the past 5-6 years. Liverpool, they're a better team than us. Let's be real. They hardly spent any money last season. They won the Premier League. We've come second 3 years in a row. All that matters in those 4 years is that trophy, that Premier League trophy. Now, they've gone out and spent 100 mil on what's his name? Works. Kirkes looks like he's going to be
he's going there,
coming in soon. Yep. The funny thing is, as well, all these players are saying they want Liverpool as well. Frimpong's done, we know that, and there's still going to be space, I'm hearing, for a striker as well. So I can see Liverpool doing all their business before we've even got one player over the line. And I said to you that I'm going to leave it till Friday from last week. Next Friday, 3 more days. Is it 3 more days to Friday? Yeah, 3 more days to Friday. And I'm going to start to call this guy Bert.
Bert,
because okay, the window's just opened up again. It's Monday. Sorry, it's Tuesday now. Maybe it takes a couple of 2-3 days. Look at me. I'm already giving my club, our club, excuse after excuse after excuse. I'm not giving Liverpool excuses. I'm not giving Man City excuses for their business. Oh, their business was because they wanted to bring players in for the Club World Cup. Well, we need to bring players in because we need to be ahead of the pack next season. We need to start showing some fear. What Man City ain't looking behind their back right now. Oh, they got Kai Havertz.
Yeah.
It's like Liverpool, they are confused a star. That's what he's looking at. Liverpool are like Man City, okay, they're looking all right. You know, they're buying a few players. Arsenal, do you know what? Same old Arsenal. I'm hearing DWTT's point about next month and all that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna be going mad before that. There's no way I can wait another month, yeah, and not see one side signing, not see one Arsenal's, not see one signing, because between that time, other teams are going to be looking at the same players that we're looking at, especially Chelsea, because Chelsea love to tap us up. They love to go after our targets. And by the time we go after our targets, the teams already have been putting on personal terms already, and we're just going to be left with the likes of the Ashley Watkins. You know, we're just going to be left with players that we don't really want to come to the club. Now, Watkins isn't a bad player. He's a decent player. But is he going to be someone that's going to help us to get where we're going? Him, Zubimendi, I don't know who the left winger is going to be. Is that going to make our team complete? You know, we've also got players that need to get out of the door as well and stuff like that. There's too much going on. And I don't understand what our club are doing right now. It just seems really just everyone's lost. Everyone's lost right now. We don't know what's going on. You know, everyone's on Google, Arsenal transfer news, you know, Arsenal rumours. Everyone's doing the search thing on Google. You know, Google's making their money off us all right now. There's nothing. Twitter, the same old people chatting rubbish. There's nothing. And it's frustrating. It's very frustrating for all of us.
Yeah, I feel like City and Liverpool are looking past us. I don't even think they're looking at Arsenal seriously.
Yeah. You know, like you're in the room, innit? You know, like you're in the room, yeah, and like Arsenal is standing there, yeah, but you can see straight through a minute, and you can see the next person in it. It's like, I can't even see you. How you doing, bro? How you doing, bro? You right?
Yeah, it's another City pool, right? Because that's the. I don't see Liverpool, Chelsea, even Man United. I don't see any of those teams that would finish second 3 times in a row and be moving this way. Right? Liverpool have signed the most expensive Premier League player possibly ever, and they made it look easy. While we haggle over simple signings of players that people don't even know about. Like we dragged Calafiori and Moreno out forever, like mid-July, like Gary said. We drag things out. Like if we imagine us trying to pull off this first deal, we would make a complete mess of it and then use the excuse of, well, it's a big name player. Everyone in the world is out for him. Real Madrid want him. That player want him. Zubimendi was announced in January. He's still not here. You know, it's like we're struggling to re-sign our own player in Partey. That's why they don't take us seriously, bro. If Man City can sign all those players in January, and then they've already signed 4 or 5 players, and let's do some Arsenal PR for them. They're getting a new signing in Rodri, Ballon d'Or man.
This guy, once he comes back, yeah, he's going to be serious. People think, he's going to take his time, but
yeah. So we don't like this year is as good as time as any. We don't have the luxury of time last year, let alone this year, to be waiting till mid-July to get our signings in. We don't, especially when the manager told us in his outbrief that things was already done, X, Y, Z, and I got goosebumps. I want to get those.
Can I make a point, please? Can I just make a quick point?
Go on, man. Show us yours, bro.
It's a point that Gary made earlier, that looking at the owners and, you know, they're like, you know, obviously they employed Arteta in it, but also as well, yeah, when you look at the owners, yeah, they weren't to know that this manager would be happy with just bringing in a Havertz who's not even a striker. They weren't to know that this manager, you know, talent ID was as poor as it was. They just saw a manager that can come in, hopefully win something, rely on an Edu type agent, because obviously he played for the club. But the worst thing about that, when you look at it, Arteta, as a manager, he played for like PSG. He played with the likes of Ronaldinho and, you know, these big players. And his stubbornness and his, you know, his ways of trying to copy Pep, still to this day, I want a big striker. So he wants a big striker. It's almost like the manager's he's just gone left. He's just gone a different route. Yeah. It's this narcissism about him that I just don't like. You know, if the fans want this, I don't want that. You know, I don't want that, but the fans, you know, it's all, if I want this, but the fans don't want that. It's so glaringly obvious, yeah, that we need a striker. It doesn't matter whether, all right, at this moment in time, Gyökeres, Sesko, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just say they're both number 9s, yeah? They're both strikers. What are you haggling over right now? What do you want? Like a £25 million off fee or something like that? Yeah. These teams are not gonna drop, yeah, their prices, yeah. So what are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. No,
and this is what we bought him for. This is what we bought Burton for.
Yeah. So it seems like Bird has come and it's like it's more of the same, right? But it's beyond frustrating.
Is it more of the same, or is it? Or we'll think about this. When we typically went out for players, did we look at 2 sets of players and like be able to, at a still position, pick between the 2? We haven't done that, and we never did that under Edu. When we were looking at Rice, we weren't looking at another number 6 to go out. Now we're looking at a striker. We actually have 2 on the 2 out there that are still available, and we're picking between the 2. Now I'm with you on like, let's just get it done, but you know what? They still have 2 they're going to pick through, and supposedly this is the way Berto works. We don't hear much from him, but we do see the actions, and I can only go by the actions that I've seen so far from him. And I know he does things a little bit different than Edu. And I think long term, like, are we going to see a fix immediately? I kind of feel like we're asking a lot to be fixed in just a short amount of time with everything else that the way this team has been run. When you bring in someone like a Berta, I think you might not see all of it this window, but I have a feeling by next summer you'll see it if they allow him to do his job. You know, so if we get like Abs just said, if we get one of them, he doesn't care, right? So what difference does it matter if we get him today or we get him in a couple of weeks, right? It won't matter, right? Because as long as we got our guy before, and I think for me, when these players start coming back, that's when we need to be having our players, the new players coming in as well. They need to be coming in, getting acclimated to the squad, and to the training facility and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, when we get on that plane, that's when I want to see all those guys as well. That's when I think the stuff hits the fan kind of thing. We need to be making moves. Well, we need to have already made the moves. So I kind of felt like we have seen things from Berta. I think this is what you see, I believe, from good people when they come in. You'll see in little changes. Eventually, everything will look totally different. Will it look that way immediately? Probably not. Right? Probably not. But I think, like we saw this, like you look at Liverpool, they didn't change a lot. They didn't bring in new players, but they did change the way they played to some degree. Some of the things that they were doing, they changed, and you saw that throughout the season. All right. I mean, one of the things
don't mean to cut you. I love what you just said there, right? Liverpool, they didn't change much, right? What was the biggest change at Liverpool, though?
The manager.
Yeah. So I love this comment right here from BX Gunner. Say our players are crying out for some new direction and leadership, fresh ideas and tactics. I think Arteta has gone stale. I honestly believe that he's
I don't agree with a lot of his tactics and stuff like that.
You know, a dangerous game.
Because I think about it. We're all sitting there. We're like, all right, what do you see from Nweri that you don't feel like he can give you something when you bring him on the pitch? Right. That you won't play. Like maybe if you, for me, I felt like we wasted a lot of his minutes, and that's why we didn't play much towards the end of the season. But if you need a goal, if you need somebody to create something, the only player we have on the bench consistently that will give us that is Nweri right now. And it's terrible that we have it. The only player that we have on our bench is a 17-turn 18-year-old that can give us something, and that's on Edu, Arteta, the board, everybody. We should have been deeper than that, right? But when it comes down to it, and you do need that, you need to make that call, bring him on. 5 minutes isn't working. He needs more minutes, right? So, and that's I will definitely agree with the way Arteta manages the squad sometimes in games. It's not going to get him what he wants. And that's where at some point, for me, the ownership will have to make that decision. Is he going forward, is this guy going to give it for us? Right now, they keep saying yes. And I'm going, is he? At some point, you're going to have to say, no, he's not getting, no matter what we give him. Because he's going to, like I said, he has to overachieve with whatever he gets. He has to overachieve with whatever he gets.
Yeah.
So I think we've wasted many an opportunity with what we've had given to us over the last 3 years, not to see us cross the line.
Yeah. Sorry. Can I just? There's a comment by Aaron. Yeah. There's a comment by Aaron which I was actually about to actually make. Yeah, about the point of it does matter.
This one?
No. There's one about the strikers, about the two strikers that Gary made about. Does it really matter if a striker comes in like now or in a couple of weeks? It definitely does matter, because in a couple of weeks, two of those options that we're looking at, and I've mentioned it already earlier in the stream, that they may have other clubs that they're interested in. They may have other clubs that, that their heads turned, and then those targets might not be available. Also, a couple of weeks' time, we could be looking at a Rodrigo, a midfielder, a Eze or something, once we've got our striker in. Because when you bring players in, other players look and they see, wow, okay, Arsenal have brought this player in. They're looking like a great prospect now. But if we just dibble dabble, take our time, leave it a couple of weeks, leave it a month, then we're just making it really tight for ourselves to just get the players that we need. And this is the part about it. It's so frustrating with this team right now. And I hear the Berta likes to do the two players and all this kind of nonsense, but sorry, yeah. If we're not getting those two strikers now, why aren't we looking at a midfielder? Why aren't we looking at a winger? Why am I not seeing any of these links to anything right?
Yeah, I think it does matter getting in the players earlier. Like the domino effect is what you're alluding to. Yeah, because if the football world see us sign Rodrigo, the football world knows who Rodrigo is. You know what I mean? If the football world see us go put 150 down for Isak, won't happen. Hypothetically, I'm speaking here. The football world knows who Isak is. But when the football world doesn't see a striker going to Arsenal, man is like, I don't want to play with Kai Havertz, bro. The football world knows that Kai Havertz isn't it. They know this. But they know that Arteta loves him. And the fact that, now, Gary, what do you think of the story over the weekend when Gyökeres comes out and said he wants Arsenal? Like, I want to come there. Do you think that complicates things? Because now we all know we need a striker. We have a striker who scored 50 goals last year saying, hey, I want to come there. You're a move, Arsenal.
Do you believe that report that he said he wants to come? So you believe all the reports that's
what Fabrizio.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that what Fabrizio? When we believe the Bombers, and when we believe Fabrizio when he said something that we like, or something that we agree with, but I'm inclined to believe when he says, and the agent and this guy says, because these players and these agents use the media all the time to get bigger contracts for their players. I get it, but when a striker that the fan base would be crying out for. Says, hey, I want to come to your club. I want to come score some goals for you because that's what you need. I want to be the guy that turns 6 or 8 of those 14 draws that you have into wins and challenge Liverpool and challenge Man City. I want to be there.
So you're not just to make sure. So you're not concerned that Zubimendi hasn't signed, right?
I am.
Well, then how do you believe Fabrizio then? Because he said, "Here we go," weeks before the latest things come out with Ornstein and like that. So, like, it's hard.
Journalists, it doesn't need to be a whole. It just needs
so
to be
if you believe Fabrizio, yeah. Sorry.
It just needs to be some truth. It doesn't have to be the whole truth because they give themselves wiggle room, plausible deniability to be able to pivot if they get the story wrong. They can say my sources told me, blah 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 XYZ, and they'll never give up their sources. I get it. But when one of the top strikers in the world or the most sought after prospects in the world say, I want you, because we never saw Florian Wirtz come out and say, I want Liverpool, or no one reported say, I only want to go to Liverpool. But somehow
I heard he turned down a lot of offers from other teams and said he wanted Liverpool. So I don't know, I don't know who said that, but I believe there were reports out there that said that.
Right. So
that he kind of whittled it down to the team that he wanted, right?
Right.
Now, yeah. So that is out there. I like I said, and the reason why I said it doesn't matter when the striker comes, as long as he comes in, is because it may take that much time, and it's not saying that I'll want to wait, and then all of a sudden one of the strikers decides to go, and Arsenal just goes, oh, we got to wait. At some point they're going to have to pull the trigger, as they say, and just go ahead and get the player, because they're talking right now, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue to make the decision. I don't know. If they're waiting for, like I said, that July 1st date, and that's what everybody would have to go through, we'll see. Because that seems to be what the case is that they're waiting for, a fiscal year issue to come up, right? So if that's the case, then that's what it is, right? It isn't a case right now that any of these two players have said they want to go elsewhere, right? Like Nico Williams, everybody's like, we want him, but he's basically said, I want to go to Barcelona. And we're like, we can't do anything about that, right? Mm-hmm. So Rodrigo, I think he's 50-50 in terms of whether he wants to leave or not. Any more likely would just rather stay put if he gets the right message comes out of his discussion with Xavi, right? So I feel like those are ones that are going to be tough to do, especially if the player is happy to stay put, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, there's a striking reason why I say it doesn't matter when it happens, as long as it happens. Is because of the way they have supposedly a working relationship between the teams and whatnot, and when they pull the trigger, they'll pull the trigger, and when we move on to the next, are we saying we think Berta isn't working on other parts of the team? I believe he is, so, and I think it's just a matter of when we get the information. I don't think Arsenal at least is leaking anything. That's what so we don't know what they're doing until they've done it, right? Did anybody think we were looking at Kepa? No. All right. The Zubimendi thing's been going on a long time. It sounds like it's something that Berta was okay with because they've kind of continued on with it. I believe everybody said Berta would be the perfect person to come in and do the job. We'll find out if Arsenal will let him do his job. All right. Will we find out in this one window? I'm not sure, but we should see some of his fingerprints all over the place on whatever's going on in this window at the end of the day. And that's kind of what I'm looking. That's what I expect to see. All right. So we're going to see it today. Maybe not today, but we should see it by the end of this window.
The current indictment on Berta is that Arsenal typically before Berta drug their feet in the transfer window. Berta has been here since January, and Arsenal are still dragging their feet in the transfer window. If we are serious about closing the gap on Liverpool, there is no reason why they should be signing players before we do. They're not in the Club World Cup. We're not in the Club World Cup. So that's not an excuse for them to be able to get players in using the supplemental transfer window that was 1 to 10 June. I just want to see something different because I've seen the same. I've seen enough of the same, right? So it's like your past performance will predict your future results. And how we performed in past transfer windows has proved the future results not to be trophies, at least in the past 5 years in general, the past 3 in particular. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm saying the same way that you said slot, it was just a different message. Berta should be a different message going on in the way that we handle our business.
Mm-hmm.
And the little things will come out. We'll see. Right at the end of this window, if we're sitting here and looking at our window, going, "Oh damn," then they haven't given Berta the keys, right? They haven't given him the keys. They're not letting him drive, and it will be in the same situation. I don't think I would like to believe Berta wouldn't have taken a job where he said, you know what, we're going to handcuff you a little bit and make sure we know if you can do the job or not, kind of thing. We're going to test you out and let you go do a little preliminary process here to see if you can do your job. I don't think I don't think he would have taken that job. He's definitely gained enough respect. That's like bringing in a big manager and telling him we're not going to spend and get the players you need. You basically have wasted your time. I like to think we're not wasting our time here, so we'll see. But like I said, I'm going to be patient right now. We'll go from there. Yeah.
I also think as well, that some players might want to come to Arsenal, but some players might not want to work under Arteta as well because of his style. The way he is with his players. There's certain players that he doesn't want in the dressing room. He doesn't like those big characters, I believe. He likes players that he can mold. And this is fundamentally a problem with our club. Everyone has to be nice. Everyone has to be, clean. And the world doesn't operate like that, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like strikers, especially strikers. Some of the best strikers had the biggest attitudes. Look at Thierry Henry when he was a striker. He was arrogant. Do you know what I mean? Obviously a lovely guy as well, but he knew he had the ability. He knew what he can do. With us, we're always looking at the clean. Look at the young player. Look at Sesko. He's going to come in and maybe lead the line in the future. We're always looking at tomorrow and not thinking about today. And this is what's frustrating about this club as well. It's that we always have to wait. Be patient, everyone. Wait next month, wait till the end of the transfer window, so we can bring in, players. I don't want players that don't want to play for Arsenal, by the way. So this Rodrigo guy, like wanting reassurances and all that from Alonso, it looks like we're just going to be like, if he doesn't get his reassurance, then you know what, we're in with a chance. So we're just waiting. I don't want to wait for him. I want to go to the next person. Who's the next left winger that we can get? I'm not naming no names, but there's got to be options out there that, you know what, Berta, hopefully, is talking to other options as well. And yes, Gary's right, is that a lot of the business is done behind doors, isn't it? So we're not going to know a lot of stuff what's going on. But you know what? I tell you what will lift all of us right now is if we saw breaking news, here we go, Bomber, we signed someone. I think, you know what? Once we know that we've got that one player, then we know that we're working on other players, you know what I'm saying, at the same time as well. At the moment, there's nothing for us to feed on. There's nothing for us to get excited about. There's nothing for us to dream about. And that's the problem with us at the moment. We finished the season with a whimper. We didn't get anyone in January. So now everyone's thinking, what's it going to be? Is it going to be Watkins next month? What's it going to be? So this is where I think the fans are at the moment. We're just in limbo at the moment. We don't know what's going on with this club. And you know what I mean?
You upset me with it. Every time somebody brings up Watkins, I'm like, stop trying. Why are you doing this to me?
But Watkins isn't a bad player.
No. The reason why I say it is because that man should have been going on vacation, leaving the Emirates Stadium after the last game of the season, knowing that he's coming back. That's why I'm upset.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have been like maybe in the future. He should have been. We'll see in a month. That's what should have happened. People say 60 mil isn't worth it for him. I'm like, we've wasted, like, because for me, I think he's maybe 40 mil, but the extra 20 mil to bring him in January, we've wasted 20 mil lots of places, but not on a 20 goal scorer, right? Not a double digit scorer in the league, right? If you told me, look, yes, he's older, we get anywhere from 2 to 4 years out of him, not necessarily as a starter for all 4 years, we're okay, right? Because like people said, there's Jonathan David out there for free if you really wanted to go see it. If there's a Delap that you could go out there and get if you're talking about a future, right? So you have options if you think he's expensive and you don't want to spend so much money on a striker. But guess what? We're not spending much on our front line anyways. We have room to spare, right? We spent so much money on our back line, to some degree, our midfield. We've brought in a goalkeeper every damn window. You can't tell me we can't tell me we don't have. We've done a lot of things that you're like, why do we keep doing this? So for me, that's why when Watkins' name comes up, I just go, you know what? You want to fight? Let's step outside because I'm so upset that we didn't get him in January. I feel like I would have liked to have seen what happened if we brought him in January with all the games that we had to play.
Yeah,
would we have lost to Manchester United with him in the game, right? We would have made a late challenge to Liverpool where they actually will have to stand up and actually play games, right? Would we have played that first PSG game with a striker? How we would have played then, right? We would have taken it. We would have been able to take a 1-goal lead back to Paris, right? All these little things that I think he would have given us, right? We don't lose to Aston Villa if he's playing for us, right? Right? All these little things that I think are worth the 20 mil that I think he was worth, we had to pay on top of. So that's why I kind of get a little upset when I hear Watkins' name, because I'm like, that's the risk you take. You don't get a deal on a player in January, right? Right? You don't. Somehow Liverpool City was able to bring in how many? 4 or 5 players in January, right? And not at top monies, right? And 60 mil would have gotten us the player from the PSG picked up, right? We would have been laughing with a left winger like that, right? You know what I mean? Like, so there, we needed to make, like you said, we needed to make that splash, all right? And we could have done it in January, and people would have been looking at us going, yes. Yeah. And you know what? I don't think we're doing that with Edu or with Eto, right? Maybe Berto would have made that decision, but he wasn't around. But I feel like, yeah, I'm with you on let's make a splash. But like I said, I'm willing to see what Berto is allowed to do.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask the big man something. I wanted to ask you both something. Yeah, with Gabriel Jesus still here on the books, do you think we're a bit reluctant to go in for a striker right now?
I think we're reluctant to go in on a striker regardless of Jesus. I think Arteta is reluctant to go in for a striker because of Havertz. That's his guy.
That's one player. This
is my problem with this guy, bro. Here's a perfect example, Abs. Here's a perfect example. Arteta is known as a like-for-like sub manager, a like-for-like merchant. He'll take out Timber, he'll bring in Ben White. He'll take off Martinelli, bring on Trossard, or vice versa. He will take off Partey, bring on Jorginho, right? And as soon as damn Kai Havertz gets fit, he takes off Bukayo Saka, who's our right winger. You know who he brings on? Not all of a sudden, he's not a like-for-like merchant anymore. He brings on Kai Havertz when Ethan Nwaneri is on the pitch, or is on the bench. He brings on.
But he's not like-for-like. He's Havertz.
That's what I'm saying. He breaks his own rules for the players that he loves. He actually believes that if Kai Havertz was fit, we'd probably beat PSG or win the Champions League. Meanwhile, we had him for all of last season when he was completely fit and only 11 goals. This is my problem with him, man. Like when anyone accuses me of having an agenda against Kai Havertz, I plead guilty. I don't want him at my club. He is terrible, bro. I lived in Germany. I played Germany in 3rd division football with guys with more tech than him. He's always on the ground, just rolling it. Right. He comes on against Newcastle, almost cost us the game. He gives the damn a free kick away to Tonali. You remember that?
Yeah.
Arteta is in the press conference just raving on, oh, he's transformed his body. You should see him. Again, August 16th, he will be leading the line out for our football club. That's why we're signing Sesko. That's why we're not signing a striker that can challenge Havertz. Because Gyökeres does that. Sesko doesn't.
Well, that's what, like I said, that's where Berto needs to step in here and go. Arteta step back a little bit.
We're doomed. We're doomed.
Like
Then.
that's the only way that this thing works is if somebody with a little bit more authority steps in and does this. Like Jesus, he is a liability. He's not available, so that should be like. I know we're spending a lot of money on him, but we're not gonna get that money back, right? And we need to move on. I mean, he's hurt one knee and then hurts the other knee. It doesn't sound like it's going to work, right? It doesn't sound like it's going to work. At some point, you just got to say we're going to have to take the L on this one, because when he's healthy, we've seen what he can do for us. He does what Arteta wants, but he's not been healthy, so we need to move on. And if you're looking at your strike, you're saying like for like, those two are not like for like, right? That's why when one starts, the other one doesn't get any minutes, and he like you said, he has to play favorites. So which one does he like the most? Not necessarily who's the better for us, because Jesus playing for us is the better forward, not striker, right? The way that we play, but we need that left wing to help him. And you saw that with Gabriel. You saw that with Martinelli when both of them were healthy and running a couple years ago. It looked good, changed, no problems, right? We saw some good things coming out of the way we were playing. Jesus injured, not helping, and then Martinelli doesn't know how to play with anybody else, right? So now Jesus, I think we needed to move on from him. Like the first injury, the second, like he has, I think it's been 3 seasons now. He's not been able to make it through half a season yet with us for like 3 seasons now, right? He's either so I think those are I think that's just bad luck. What they wanted to get out of him, what we got out of him is not, I don't think there's anything we've done. It's just his legs ain't working. So yeah.
I was gonna say if it walks like a duck, looks like it. If it's yellow and it quacks, goddamn it, it's a duck. We've seen enough of Arteta. We've seen enough. Gary talks about we need to overperform. I don't trust him to overperform, even if our players overperform their level and City players overperform to their level. And the Liverpool
we have to clone Saka because he's the only one that's got that gene. That gene that no matter what Arteta tells him to do, he's gonna make it look good, right? Because that's what he does. He seems to be the only player that can do it consistently. Is Rice to some degree definitely does it. Our back line, he's defensively sound. Arteta is right. He can work with anybody on our defense. We've seen it, right? Kirill comes in. We're like, you look at it and you're like, he looks better than Saliba at the end of the season, which he probably does because he's fresh. Yet we had never played him, and that's on Arteta not playing him. Maybe Gabriel doesn't get hurt if you're playing Kiri or at his a position he works. So the man management for Arteta, I guess I talk out of both sides of my mouth because I want to give him time, but I know he's not there yet, right? And I want so. If they're not, like I said, this is where it comes back to the management. Are they going to make that decision? Because that's the only one that can. Arteta's not going to turn. He's not going to leave, right? So, and this is when you come back to the ownership. What do they see? Are they happy with what they're seeing? They didn't go out there and get the best young manager when they brought Arteta in, like they've done with all their other franchises. They went out there and got sound managers or sound coaches and brought in like the next best thing. They didn't do that with Arteta, and they didn't back him up enough. I know some people say he got 32 players that brought in. They took risks all over the place, and that's because they didn't have the right people working the recruitment for them, working the transfers for them, right? So once again, he doesn't have the best support there. So, and he needs it if he's going to be their guy. He needs it. I mean, that's why I'm saying there needs to, like, we're looking at one cog, but there's multiple cogs here not working at the way they should. The ownership needs to be a lot more involved in terms of whether or not Arteta is the man. The transfer business needs to be better. We hopefully will see that with Berta, right?
Yeah,
because that's the key to this thing as well. So
yeah, I hear it. Now, Aaron says 17 days has been enough for Liverpool and City. Our rivals signed 8 to 9 players between them. Meanwhile, we're linked with Kepa. Here's the thing. One of the reasons why I believe doing your business early sends the right message and it's the right thing to do. It shows that you know what your problems are, or the holes are in your team. The fact that we're 5 years into Arteta and in phase 12, and we're still deciding what is the next piece, is like an indication that we don't know what we're doing. That it's failed. that you're still looking at. Liverpool knew exactly what they need. Oh, right back leaves Frimpong. We're not going to depend on Mo Salah to give us creativity at that level because he's 32 going on 33. What do? We go get the most creative player on the market, right? Man City know they have ran Rodri into the ground over the past 3 seasons. What do? They go get Reinders, the grinder from the Serie A, to put in that midfield with him and give Rodri a rest. And let's be clear, like 80%, 85% Rodri is better than most midfielders in this Premier League. That's what we're competing with. But we're linked with goalkeepers. You know what I mean? It's just so bad. They're just making us look bad. Like, we're the ones who have to walk around and answer for these crimes against football, not them.
Well, I like I said, I guess I'm on the pro Arsenal, top Arsenal, whatever you guys call it. But maybe that's what they want. You know what? The rivals want you to feel that way. You're just feeding their fire, right? When we say these things as Arsenal fans, right?
But they can't feel that way if we win, Gary.
No. Yeah, well, we're in preseason mode right here. So the only thing we can do, like you said, is bring in players. But maybe that's what they're working on, right? I like to believe that's what they're working on, right? I believe they're working on this, and we'll see. And like I said, we'll see in July when all that happens, because when the dust clears, we should be having a legitimate set of players coming in. All right, or else, yes, we're not doing our job, and then somebody needs to pay. And that's if, say, you bring Berta in and we're still where we are, then this goes up to the ownership again. This isn't an Arteta issue. It never was. Yeah, at some point you have to look past that, right? Yeah, and as you said, the city moves and stuff we're not City, so we can't move like them. Not too many teams are moving like them. All right, not too many teams are moving like that. So, and they've got more money than everybody. They've just been doing this for like the last 10, 15 years, but they got more money and clout than anybody. So, how does that work? I don't know. But so I don't like comparing ourselves to City, because we don't move. Nobody moves like that, right? Nobody can be patient like a Real Madrid in terms of how they do their business either. Right, so I think there's teams that we just don't move like Chelsea. We can't move like that either. So we got to try to move closer to what. Because we don't have that either. There's some sort of financial thing we don't have, right? Like 99% of the teams don't have that kind of level of financial support that they have, right? However they're doing it, I don't know. If they're cheating, I don't know.
Paid 100 million for Rice last 2 seasons.
But nobody does that every other year. I mean, except for Chelsea, and we know what they're doing. We're not selling hotels and selling our women's team and all these things. That's not what we do, right? I know that's what you want us to do, but that's not what we're doing, right?
So
like I said, they're moving different. They're moving different to us. So for us to expect us to do the same things as what a Chelsea does, I think would be, you're gonna be disappointed because we don't move like that. All right.
Yeah, I know.
So you see what you said there about patience, Gary. Like patience, or they're not patient. Patient. I don't normally get triggered, but that word. Listen, the patient word triggers me. If you ask a fan base that's waited 21 years for a league title to be more patient, you should get slapped. Yeah,
no, I hear you. I hear you. I know. I hear you. I don't know how. When I hear, like I said, that's why I hear you. I probably deserve this slap, but I'm okay.
But Real Madrid, they have to move that way because their fan base is not patient. That's why they can't move like that. I think we're too patient. That's why we get taken the mickey out of. Yeah. We're too nice.
No,
Real Madrid, they know they can't move that way. They know they can't. 5 years. Nah, bro. Like Carlo was forced out the door winning the Super Cup this year. But the fact that they went into the season, none of the domestic cups got fist up by Arsenal in the Champions League. All the Clásicos, I think they lost badly too. And then they hold Carlo, who sits at the goal table with Pep and Fergie. He gets pushed out the door. Xavi Alonso knows you get 1 year there. 1 year. Matter of fact, not even you start slow. This Real Madrid team starts slow behind that Barcelona team that's picking up steam right now, and he is out of there. I think we're too patient as a fan base. I'm sorry. I think we are. I think we give
Well,
this.
we're patient because our expectation is not to win. That's why we're so patient, because no one here in this chat or in this panel thinks we're going to win the league next season. No one. So you know what? We can be patient. We can relax. You know what? Don't worry. It's another season of failure. Yeah. You know, we can't compete with the likes of City and Liverpool. That's going to be the excuses next month. They had a better transfer window than us, but we have the opportunity now to make a difference. Yeah, it's not about next week, the week after, 3 weeks from now. It's about now. What are we doing right now? Yeah, and this is where my problem is with our club, is that, you know what? Don't be proactive. Do the nonsense of negotiating. When I'm hearing interest close to blah blah blah, and I'm seeing like Man City, here we go, like Rangers, here we go, Turkey, here we go. You know, that's a team with ambition. Our team and our fan base, yeah, and most of the club, we don't have ambition. All our ambition is wrapped up in who's got the new merch, who's going to be the content creator on YouTube. We're plugging the new merch for Arsenal, yeah. Saying that then they're not sick of Arteta, because Arteta has brought us from out of the stench, out of hell, and he's done this for us. Arteta's done this for us, but he's never held accountability, is he? You know, this is supposed to be a manager, yeah, that sacked our highest goal scorer, Aubameyang. This is supposed to be the manager that's bringing in a top boy next season, yeah? Not concentrating on bringing in goalkeepers season after season, not keeping players, yeah, that are not doing anything for us. This is ridiculous, man. I can't be sitting here, and I'm going to be 50 years old next year. Can you believe that? I've got such good skin and everything, yeah? I'm going to be hitting 50 years next year, yeah? Not anything from this club to tell me that we're going to win something, yeah? Tangible. I can't see it. I cannot see it.
So, Gary, you big up to Danny. Big up to Danny Reacts. And big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you're subscribing to Waffle TV, BBK Sports if you're new. I see a lot of new names. Big up to Danny Reacts and DWTT. Gary, do you agree with Danny? Said fifth at best next season.
I don't believe so. Unless you're telling me we're going to get the same number of injuries we got again. I don't see that. I mean, I was saying it all last season. I was like, our defense is solid no matter what's been going on. Right. Our defense has been solid. We need to fix everything that's going up front. You know, we'll see if we do that. And, you know, and people say I can get debunked because of the salaries we're paying for these players. Does everybody believe Arteta's the one signing these players to these contracts?
Yep.
You do? Okay. I like to say I hope not, because I don't think he should be. Okay.
So Sky Sports has reported that Arteta told. They know on strong authority that Arteta has a heavy hand.
Iron fist.
Yeah, a heavy hand in the recruiting and the signing process. Translation: he gets the players that he wants.
Yeah,
that's why Kai Havertz was able to come through the door that quickly, because Arteta wanted him.
Yeah,
and that's why he got. That's why he gets all the Emery signings out the door. That's why Kean Tierney, our best left back at the club, couldn't touch pitch.
Yeah, for me, I thought Tierney was more of an injury concern. His availability was also a concern. I don't think he was available as much as we wanted him to be.
I think G. Gunner has debunked that many times. He has literally pulled up like the injury report between Tierney and Partey over the time, their duration, and Tierney's injury record. He has been injured, but his injury record has been overstated for people who are defending the way Arteta treated him. I do still think a fully fit Kieran Tierney is the best left back at the club, and yes, he doesn't.
I know. I like Tierney, but at least I didn't read somebody else's message and said that's how I feel about it. That's just how when I saw what was going on, I felt like it wasn't as reliable as we would have liked him to be, and that's why they went a different direction. You know, for me, that's so I didn't read some Top Gooner's message and say, yeah, I agree with you. This is the way I saw it. I'll say this all the time. I might not see what you see, but all I can do is talk about what I see, and it might be
Right.
different. It might be wrong, but it's definitely different. It's all coming from what I see most of the time. That's how I felt about that situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like to Arteta can't be the one figuring out what the number is for these players in my eyes, as far as contracts and stuff like that. Because I mean that $3 million for Marquinhos for me, if that's Arteta, I'm like, no, that's not. I don't believe that's going to happen under Berta. We're not going to take a play that's free as a sign of good faith that we will continue to do business with you, and then we sell the player the next year, kind of thing. We never even get a couple of enough minutes out of him to make it worth our time. So, no. Like I said, for me, it's what I saw with Kieran. I liked Kieran Tierney. I mean, we did see that he couldn't keep up with pacey players, right? Because if you recall when he came in, I think it was against Wolves. We brought in Maitland-Niles, right, to come in to close out the game because that little wrestler guy was just, I forget what was his name. The little stocky muscle guy on the wing was just killing them in the game, and so I know that Adama, yeah. And we brought in Maitland-Niles, and he shut him down, and we saw it that game. So I know he had some problems with pace sometimes, and so I saw that. But I liked him. I did like Tierney. I just didn't think he was going to be able to give us the right minutes that we needed. I mean, I think we've done well with the fullbacks we brought in late. But I like Tierney. I thought he should be our captain. But I can move on. You know what? I can move on from a player. Like if I felt we could do better than Saka, I say go get him, right? If I felt like that's where we needed to go,
Yeah, bro. It's the fact that we signed Kai Havertz so rapidly and made him the highest paid player at the club before he ever kicked the ball for us tells me that someone at the club wanted him badly. That someone is Arteta, right? Now, if we finish behind Man City twice and you're to bridge the gap, and you think that Kai Havertz is that guy to bridge the gap when they got Erling Haaland, I question your judgment. I question your football acumen.
Right. Like I said, that's right now. The only thing we can hang our hat on is maybe Berta is going to be the man to actually kind of bring Arteta back from the, come back here. We're not going to go down that road. Let's go this direction. That's the only way this is going to work, right? You bring in better people, you let them work. So hopefully Berta gets to work, or else, we'll be back here complaining. We'll be back here in a month going, so we've done nothing.
So you say you don't agree with Danny that we can finish fifth because of the injuries. You don't expect us to get that many injuries. I think Danny is banking on the other teams getting better. I think City gets better. I think Chelsea gets better. I think that's the point that he's making, that the other teams that are close to us, because City had a period where they won 2 in 11 games and they finished 1 point behind us. Newcastle won more games than us last season. So it's not a matter of us getting our players back with injuries. It's the other teams around us getting better. And I don't think it was the injuries that caused us to drop 21 points from winning positions. So I think there's a genuine concern amongst the fan base that
it's twofold, right? Though when we drop points from winning position, it's twofold. One, usually our defense could, and in some cases our defense could hold up, right, and see out a game for us, or not have to worry about getting an extra goal. The other half to it for me was also, why don't we get that second goal? Why don't we actually go in there and try to maybe bring in some fresh legs up top and maybe get that second goal to push us ahead?
But that's the thing, we didn't have the fresh legs.
Yeah.
We didn't have the fresh legs.
We didn't use it in my eyes in early in the season.
We had
right?
There was a point where we had what's his name on the bench? What's that young striker on the bench? Yeah,
that was late. That was late in the season. But I'm talking about in that first half of the season, we were pretty much stacked in terms of what we had, and we didn't go in there and do that. So that's why I said for me it was twofold. It wasn't only that we didn't score the extra goal, but it's also maybe our defense didn't hold up, because we made, like, if you think about it, in that we made Nunez look really good against us in Liverpool, right? He puts the cross into to Salah, right? So there are different. The way that goal was scored against Brighton, right? Gabriel's out of position or whatnot. All these little things that I think, like, it's twofold. One, we need to be able to push ahead, but also our defense towards the end wasn't as perfect as it was in years past, right? So that's how we were able to see out games as well. Because think about it, there were many a game 2 seasons ago where our defense basically just shut everybody down. They didn't get anything, not even a sniff, and we just like, yes, you're right. They're not like, and to expect that to happen consistently without making changes to it, I think is where, Arsenal went wrong. They thought they could just continue to just lean on that same thing without bringing in either new players or freshening up, those players coming off the bench. We didn't do any of that. So we had, and I think they just wore down over time defensively. And for me, offensively, that's where a lot of the pressure should be put in regards to how we didn't hold on to those leads. But I think also our defense, we weren't able to bring on the right answers on the defensive side, at least in the early part of the season, to see things out as well. So I like to say it's twofold. It's not just one issue that we had, right?
But the thing is, as well, that Arteta trusts only certain players as well. So he wasn't maximizing the squad at the beginning of the season either. So he was just leaving out players and not playing them. And then when he did look to play them, these players were out. Also, they were outsourced. They weren't able to, to get a decent run in and put in performance. So football is about balance as well. It's not just about just one-sided. There has to be a balance when it comes to like management and stuff like that as well. And you can have your first 11, but just remember, there's going to be times that there's going to be players that are not going to be available in your first 11. And there's some times where you need to bring on players, maybe just the odd 1-2 twerks or something like that. Tweaks within the team to just keep the oil, just to keep the engine running smoothly. You know what I'm saying? Introducing players into the team, that will just have that cohesion, and I've got so many things, man, to go on about this manager, because we could have won some titles, and it's come down to his stubbornness, his I just want certain players in my team. Look at when Odegaard was down. You didn't give Ranieri enough time. I just I don't
No,
know.
like I said, I agree with you that when Erdogan went down that Brighton game, I go back to it because it sticks out like a sore thumb to me, and I'm like, all right, so now we get to see Nweri, because he's our backup, right? Because going into the season, I'm like, who's backing him up? Oh, it's got to be Nweri because nobody else can. And we didn't see him, and I don't know, we didn't see him for what seemed like a month until Saka eventually got injured, and then we started to see him, and I'm like, that's not where I thought I would see him. So that's and for me, that's why we'll complain about Arteta, but I also look at the ownership and how they're managing their team. At some point, is Arteta the right person for the job? And the only person that can answer that, it's got to be sitting above him.
It's a great segue, man. So before you go, I know you got to go, but before you go, AJ got one last question for you. Can we do better than Arteta and get him? No.
No, we can definitely do better than Arteta. Can we get, because we bring in any manager, I think, with 10 years experience, we'll see a totally different thing, right? Mm-hmm. No, do we want to go out and get the best player with 10 years, best manager with 10 years? We should. But you bring in a manager with 10, because we've seen it. We get out coached, right, by any of those seasoned managers in the league, right? Yep. Why? Because they've seen it and done a lot of things. They've gone from League 2 to League 1 in terms of moving up, and they know a little bit about that fight, right? And they don't waste. The WTT don't waste the trip. Mm-hmm. They don't waste the trip when they have an opportunity. We see it. Think about every game we've watched. We go in there, we shut people down. We make a little mistake defensively or in the midfield. What do teams do? They jump on it. They don't. They know it's not going to happen again, right? We've played. We played Newcastle too many times to give them one opportunity and they score it, and we get nothing out of the game. Why? Yeah. They don't waste it, right? And I think for me, that's a mentality that Arteta hasn't gotten to some of his players. Like when Havertz has that ball in the box and it's falling at his feet, that ball's got to go through the back of the net, not roll across the line.
Yeah, right.
Through the back of the net. That's not. You know what I mean? That thing's got to go. And so, I'm a wishy-washy on this because I think that's the way things are. I don't think things are straightforward, right? I want Arteta to do better, but if not, I want somebody else better. You know, one of
but that's
let
the
me know
thing.
what you're gonna do.
That's the thing, though. It's not just about Arteta. We want Arsenal to do better. Everyone it's not just about Arteta. Yeah, we want the team to do better.
I'm Arsenal, and whatever's good for Arsenal, I want. So if that means we're selling, if we're selling Saliba, Gabriel, and Saka because that makes us better, then we do it. You know, it sounds crazy, but that's where we have to be, right? We're not no strings attached to any players or managers, or else we'll be in trouble, right? Right, we have to do what's best for Arsenal. At the end of the day, Arsenal is the numero uno on the priority list. Is what we're doing this. I did tell Tehran I'm gonna have to head out of here.
Yeah, man, Gary. Appreciate you coming on, bro. Making your debut. I thoroughly enjoyed this. You know, and,
is this his debut?
Yeah, it's his debut, man. I've been trying to get him on for the longest. We live in the same country, bro. You never get him on, but I was able to get him on today. So yeah, big up, man. Man. Let the people know where they can find you, man.
Yes.
And what you got coming up. Any watch alongs and such.
Yeah, I usually I do two weekly shows. I'm usually on a watch along on another channel, but Mondays and Saturday mornings. I'm gonna go Saturday. I'm UK time, so everybody knows. 3 p.m. UK time on a Saturday. I do like a little we kind of look at all the scores and talk about that on the weekends. And then on Mondays is my Arsenal show. It's 12:30 a.m. So that'll be Tuesday morning for you guys in the UK. I do a show pretty much talking about Arsenal. Those are the two, and then I try to jump on as many other channels as I can. But those are my channels. Type in DWTT Arsenal, and I should pop up first.
Yeah, there it is, people. Gary, man.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Good seeing you, Abs.
Nice one, man. Nice to see you, man.
Yeah,
and everybody in the chat, have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
Got you, bro.
Big up, man. Big up.
Yeah, people. Yeah, Abs. I'm telling you, man. I feel us getting left behind, bro. I feel like we're on a you know, in the 80s when the regular keyboard came out and the people who were comfortable with the typewriter were like, nah, I'm not getting a I'm good with my typewriter. And then 5 years later, they were obsolete. Right, I feel like, you know, the whole it's like VHS and DVDs and cassettes and CDs, and it's digital, and everyone is moving in the success space, and we seem to be like, okay, this is our success space, and we're comfortable because there is no way we should be haggling over what we need at this part in phase 12 or 15 or wherever we are. You know, I'm so confused, bro. I'm more confused than anything.
You know, even the first week, when I was doing the patient thing, I knew deep down, that it wouldn't last with me, because if I'm not seeing anything happening, I know I'm going to start to be impatient, and that's what's happening right now. You know, everyone's calling for, not everyone, people are calling for patience, and you know what? Prove us wrong, innit? Prove me wrong and bring in a signing. Bring in a signing this week. Bring in a signing this week. Here we go, Bomber. Then I'll be happy, innit? I won't be happy, actually. I won't be happy until, I won't be happy until this manager leaves Arsenal and then we bring in a proper manager, because you know what? I believe he's only taken us as far as he can.
I agree.
And his stubbornness to adapt, to be more flexible, is absolutely ruining us as a club. The Havertz signing, it's not his fault, but we were blinded into buying him. And this is going to be the death of Arteta. Not death physically, but the death of his career at Arsenal.
I'm at Arsenal, yeah.
Having this player, him bringing this player has destroyed many a love for this club right now. Not saying no, we don't love Arsenal, but it's not the same Arsenal, man. It's not the same vibe. It's not the Arsenal that we grew up loving. It's a micromanaged Arsenal with no feelings right now. It's robotic. It's AI Arsenal, and I just want it. I just want it back. I just want the club back to having a proper manager, someone that, you know what, we look up to, that's been in the game, that's done it. That's not afraid to change it up.
Yeah, fresh set of eyes.
Not afraid to go against the grain and buy a player. You know what? I want this player today. Yeah, I know we may not get him, but let's just put in a bid.
Yeah,
fans look at that thing. Okay, at least we made the effort.
Yeah, put in a bid for Rodrigo. Just go do it. Whether you get him or not is irrelevant. It's your job at the club.
Ask the question.
Yeah, ask the question. Make them react. Make them react, bruv. You know.
Exactly.
So it's the mad one. Yeah, I said Brandon Rogers said things. I just look at us as a cold case, bro. We're a cold case, and we need a fresh set of eyes from a new detective. You know,
100%, and it's getting stale. It's getting stale, man. It's like going into the kitchen and making a sandwich, and the bread's stale like every day. That's what it's becoming like. The taste is horrible. You know, it doesn't taste nice, and you're gonna be angry every time you're biting into that stale bread because, you know, there's no freshness, there's no ideas, there's no newness, there's nothing. You know, if we get linked to someone like a Nunes, oh man, who knows? Because we've not spoken about players that we might get linked to if we don't get our targets. There could be some crazy backup players that we're linked to.
Earlier, Mr. Robo came in the chat and was like linked to Garnacho. I was like, we better not. That's higher. I hope he's
what I mean.
I hope he's bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, I am not trying to hear that. And I'm back. What's new now? You missed Gary. Gary came on the show, man, and Gary was trying his best to tap into the energy, and the chat wasn't allowing it. The chat was not allowing it. Big up to Gary every single time. I think that stole of the club, chunks. Yeah, bro, it's
100%, man.
But you know, dried cheese with no butter. Yeah, bro. Bro, in the United States, we have with this restaurant called Hardee's, bro. They make these biscuits, bro. If you don't have a glass of water right next to you, do not try to attempt to eat one of these biscuits, bro.
Wow,
because you will choke and die. You know what I'm saying?
It's what we do here as well. You know, we've got crackers, we've got something called crackers, and like people do challenges where they can eat crackers, loads of crackers or something like that, but you're just constantly chewing on the crackers because they're so dry as well.
Yeah, that's a mad one. But bro, we're 5 minutes away from kickoff in Dortmund. You're doing a watch along for Dortmund, and
I'm doing a watch along, so I need to get moving, man. I'm at work. I'm doing a watch along. You know how we do, people. So yeah, I need to get there.
I gotta ask a favor of you, a request, my brother.
Oh, live on chat, live on
live on chat. Because
I can't say no, then can I?
No, now you can't say no. You can't, because why not alluded to it earlier? Because I had made a thumbnail to discuss other things, but you know, you knew what the chat wants. Yeah, and the chat wanted to discuss certain things, so I do what the chat wants.
Yeah,
I'm asking permission to use your chat.
Oh, no, it's a striker thing.
No, for my thumbnail.
Take it, man.
Oh, yeah, man. But yeah, you heard it, people. Waffle TV, Dortmund versus Fluminense. Yeah, you know, should be a good one.
You should be redirecting to my channel. That's what you should be doing.
Matter of fact, you showed me how to do that. So, you know, you go set that up, and
let me go set that up. Yeah, I'm gone now. People, excellent. Love you, chat. Big up to you all the time. Big up to everyone. I'm out. Yeah. Big up, BBK.
All right, man. I had started a couple of questions. I started a couple of comments up here because it was just way too many. So big up to the chat for being legendary today. But there was this AJ had said I would say it again. Trade Odegaard for Eze. We get so much better. This one is such a weird one for me, right? Because Arteta is on record, or gives off the impression that he loves versatile players, versatile attackers. There are not many midfielders in the Premier League that's more versatile than Eze. He is so versatile. Right? He can play central, he can play left 8, he can play on the wing. I think he improves us with or without Odegaard in the squad. I completely agree. With that. Odegaard for Eze, or Odegaard and Eze, but get Eze in the squad. He massively improves us. gives us quality cover in so many positions that, you know, I'm of the impression that's what Arteta says that he likes. I had box gun. This was one of the ones that I had started to press Gary with. Players are crying for new direction, new leadership, fresh ideas. I've said it many times. I still think to this day, Jurgen Klopp is a better manager than Arne Slot. He is. But I just think Klopp knew he took this team as far as he could take them. They needed a new voice. And bang, new voice, the biggest signing of the summer. Did I start this one of our club? We have zero chance of winning the league. City will blow us out the water. And I completely agree, Rich. I think that they're looking past us. They are talking to one another. They are talking to one another as if we're not even in the room. This one, LFC Monster. He was asking LFC Monster, what do you reckon? Third 90 million plus for Darwin Núñez for Isak. Curtains. Liverpool signed Isak with Mo Salah still there. And Verts. My God. Look out, league. They might do an invincible. That would be crazy. And this is one of the ones that I really appreciated from Aaron. In a couple of weeks, another club could be in for both of them. Yeah. And then we go into panic mode. And then when you go into panic mode, what do? Overpaying for shit, signing players that you don't need. Madness, absolute madness is what we'll end up doing. We just can't get over shooting ourselves in the foot, you know. Arsenal Football Club, man, will be the death of me. Will be the absolute death of me. But, you know, what can we do? We love our club. And we will continue to support them in whatever that they do. Yeah? But let me go through these last bits of comments here. And we'll see what we got. Ursta said, BBK, I'm leaning Havertz. I'm loaning in Havertz from Waffle TV. That's in national terms. For those in the UK, the match is on terrestrial channel 5. All right, got it. Yeah, man, big up Mr. Battle Red, man. Appreciate you guys checking in. AJ Byatt, Darren, I had Arteta in tell me I have no right. Jude. Oh, no right, because I go to Arsenal ladies games. Man, another classic moving the goalpost, isn't it? It's just a mad one. Yeah, I watch on this app as well. They stream. Sometimes it's hit or miss. A lot of tennis and golf on this channel as well. That Dortmund CEO was salty over Verts coming to Liverpool. I bet. The face of Germany, not playing in Germany. I can hear it. Hopefully the Bundesliga will fix up. People. But yeah, people, I think I did this right. Where Brother Abs is doing his watch along, and I think I set up the redirect right. I have no idea if I did or not, but we'll see if it works. Bang. We'll see if it works, and then I come back over here and I'll say, people, thank you for your time. Take care of yourselves and each other. Until next time, we are gone.